Yo, what's good? Welcome back to another video, 369. And we are going to talk about feminism today, which is quite an interesting discussion because we have many people that advocate for feminism that say that they are feminists, but we might have a clue what feminism is somewhat. We might not really know what it is totally, which is of course fine, and we might not know arguments for and against feminism, which is also okay because I'm here to clarify these questions and let us step into the video. So first of all, feminism rose in the 19th century, but the roots can be seen also earlier, around 1792, with Mary Wollstonecraft's work. Overall, feminism is the belief in and advocacy for the political, economical, social and personal equality of the sexes. And there we are not talking about one sex, we're talking about the sexes, but why is it called feminism when we talk about both or more sexes? Because feminine sex has been oppressed over the centuries, and because we care about the weaker sex or the oppressed sex, we try to equalify them. That's why we talk about feminism, and not, for example, egalitarianism or something like this. The current baseline is that society is inherently patriarchal, meaning it favors men and is unjust towards women. Some wins for feminism over the last years, over the last century, are, for example, women's suffrage, equal pay, reproductive rights, protection against gender-based violence. We can split feminism into four waves. There we have, for example, the first wave from the 19th, 20th century, where we had more focus on legal inequalities, try to make the legal base the same. So, women's suffrage, for example. Then we have the second wave, 1960s, 80s. More the look on workplace discrimination, reproductive rights and sexuality. The third wave started in the 1990s with the look on individuality, diversity and challenging media representation of women. The fourth wave had the Me Too movement in 2012. In feminism we have also some ideologies given. We have liberal feminism that tries to make everything equal through legal ways, through legal steps. Then we have social feminism that believes that gender and inequality is just part of class oppression. So we're trying to fight against the classes, so to say. And we have radical feminism that believes that the patriarchy is the root of the problem, is the root of all inequality. But instead of really going against the patriarchy or establishing a matriarchy, this does not mean it inherently. It could be that they, for example, establish hospitals just for women or something like this. And now let's take a look at the really interesting part here. And I want to go over to arguments pro feminism and then against feminism. Before we do this, I want to clarify that I'm not telling you that these are the best arguments, but they are surely arguments. And I'm not saying that they are good or bad. I'm just giving you the arguments and you have to decide for yourself how you handle them. Because we are in the thinking pillar and I want you to think, of course. I want to now go over to the pro arguments for feminism, and the first argument is feminism promotes equal rights and opportunities for all genders. They will of course advocate for voting, that both sexes can vote. We talk about equal pay in this field, which is still not that quite equal, and then that women should be able to own property, to be educated, to make their own contracts, and not as we had in the past where the man had to sign a contract for the woman. Women should be able to be protected from sexual violence, to be able to protect themselves, to have contraception, and also to be able to leave when they are in maternity. I just want to say here some numbers, that 1 in 3 women has experienced violence in their past, or that 38% of women murders were actually done by their partners. My second argument here is that feminism improves health, education, safety and reduces poverty. Empowered and educated women actually lead to overall better well-being for themselves, but also to healthier families. We might see that they have less children, but generally healthier offspring. Educated women actually bring more value, therefore also to the society, as they can help others make the society better. Feminism boosts productivity, innovation and growth. Women in workforce increase the GDP about over 20%. We see in Africa that educated girls will add 2.4 trillion to the workspace till 2040. But this also addresses the pay gap that still exists, where still inequalities exist. Feminism is not one size fits it all. It of course tries to equify the sexes, but it is not only about the sex, it's also about racism and ableism, where it tries to also equify this and give equal chances to everybody. Feminism challenges the patriarchy and the rigid gender roles. We see that feminism also benefits men by freeing them from their provider role. Around 50% of men actually see feminism as beneficial for both sexes, and feminism can add up to 4 years to the lifespan of men. Feminism also counters misogyny despite legal equalities, because misogyny still exists, and also the mental capabilities of men and women are equal. Therefore, all those social roles, these roles that men and women are put into, are just a social construct and don't really exist. Gender equality is a basic human right. There we look of course at the disadvantages that women had over the past centuries, over the years, where feminism now tries to equify the sexes and try to get these disadvantages off. And this also advocates for freedom, generally freedom from abuse and discrimination, but overall freedom for women. In 2021, about 44 million women or girls have been displaced from their home, and feminism tries to stop this, generally stop violence against women, and tries to equify and get better chances for women. Now that we have covered the arguments for feminism, let's take a look at the counter side, at the side of anti-feminism, or just generally points against it. And there my first argument is: feminism ignores men's rights and seeks women's superiority. Feminism focuses on women primarily. This can lead to special privileges such as quotas, where for example in the workforce certain quotas are being established, a certain number of women needs to be in this job and needs to be given in a certain work field. It also ignores men's issues, such as that the suicide rate of men is 3.8 times as high as the one of women, for example in 2015 we had a 1.7 times higher suicide rate. We also have somewhat of a custody bias, whereas the woman gets the custody for the children before the man, just because this is the role that is still given in society. Biological differences are being ignored. Men and women are biologically different, such for example strength-wise or in the shape of the body and the capabilities. For example, women can give birth to children, which men cannot do. Third argument: feminism undermines traditional family structures and roles. First of all, feminism promotes career over motherhood. If you want to establish a good career in your life, you need of course to work in this space, in this certain job for a long time, and then perhaps for such a long time that you're in an age where a woman cannot give birth anymore, where therefore motherhood is not possible. Further, feminism also supports delayed marriages and abortion as birth control. It somewhat rejects the homemaking and femininity and supports this empowerment against the traditional values. It also encourages promiscuity and resents men. We have for example seen with Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue, OnlyFans movement generally, that establish themselves as feminists and try to label it as encouragement for other women as freedom as well. Feminism promotes hatred of men and views them as oppressors. Here a certain guilt is being promoted in every man, even though it's just a little group. There you can see it's often seen as men as violent and sort as a rape culture, where we presume male guilt. According to Statistics Canada, 19% and 14% of sexual assault allegations were deemed unfound in 2016 and 2017 respectively. As I said, only a few males are guilty, but everybody is being portrayed as oppressive and violent. This false allegations toward certain men also leads them to a downfall in society. Feminism contributes to men's decline and social weakening. Some people might call it the end of man, where women then hence dominate education and jobs, and this is blamed for masculine decline. The argument towards social weakening here is also that women are only in corporations in order to expand the workforce and the income, not really to serve society and, for example, the GDP. Feminism is a radical elitist or rooted in anti-traditional ideology. Feminism is out of touch with ordinary women and born from occult or anti-Christian sources as a weapon of control. What do you personally think of these arguments? Please write it down in the comments which arguments you found good, which arguments you found bad. What is your opinion now on feminism? I'm sure that you are also having some arguments and I would love to hear them, because this is just a quick list of arguments that I found. And I'm once again not telling you that any of these arguments is good nor bad. You have to decide it for yourself and think about it. Then you write it in the comments and you leave a like and subscribe. Then we see each other once again in another video.